Pig Latin is a constructed language game in which words in English are altered according to a simple set of rules. Pig Latin takes the first consonant of an English word, moves it to the end of the word and suffixes an I. For example, pig yields igpay, banana yields ananabay, and trash yields ashtray or rashtay. The objective is to conceal the meaning of the words from others not familiar with the rules. The reference to Latin is a deliberate misnomer, as it is simply a form of jargon, used only for its English connotations as a strange and foreign-sounding language. Origins: the origins of Pig Latin are unknown. A youthful Thomas Jefferson wrote letters to friends in Pig Latin. One early mention of the name was in Putnam's magazine in May 1869. I had plenty of ammunition in reserve, to say nothing, Tom, of our Pig Latin. Hogibus, pigibus a shotum damnabile gruntu, and all that sort of thing, although the language cited is not modern Pig Latin, but rather what would be called today Dog Latin. The Atlantic January 1895 also included a mention of the subject. They all spoke a queer jargon which they themselves had invented. It was something like the well-known Pig Latin that all sorts of children like to play with. Rules: the usual rules for changing Standard English into Pig Latin are as follows. For words that begin with consonant sounds, the initial consonant or consonant cluster is moved to the end of the word, and I is added, as in the following examples: happy happy how, duck day, glove glay. For words that begin with vowel sounds or silent letter, you just add way to the end. Examples are, eggway, inboxway, eightway. Some people also follow this rule with words that begin with vowel sounds, only the first letter is moved to the end of the word, then you just add way after. Examples, eggeway, appleaplyway, way. Some people who speak Pig Latin follow an alternate second rule. This version of the rule dictates that if a word begins with a vowel only the first letter is moved and the phrase added to the end as I, however this form is fairly uncommon. Examples, appleapleai, end in die, iae pronounced like ie and eek, ocelota silotoi, under and rui, similar language games. In English, similar languages to Pig Latin are Oppish, in which op is added after each consonant. Turkey Irish, in which ab is added before each vowel, and Double Dutch, in which each consonant is replaced with a different consonant cluster. In popular culture, among other languages, Google provides an option for displaying the site in Pig Latin. Images becomes imagesway, blogger blay, and sign in ignsay inway. In the opening of the film Gold Diggers of 1933, Ginger Rogers sings a verse of We're in the Money in Pig Latin. The American punk rock band The Offspring's fourth studio album is entitled Ixnay on the Hombre. Pig Latin is mentioned in the autobiographical novel I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings by author Maya Angelou. The song, Who Gon Stop Me on the 2011 album Watch the Throne by Kanye West and Jay-Z mentions Pig Latin and includes the lyrics Igpay, Ixnay, and Dixnay. The song Rap Game by D12 and 50 Cent on the soundtrack to the 2002 movie 8 Mile includes lyrics in Pig Latin. The song Gettin' Jiggy With It by Will Smith includes lyrics in Pig Latin. In November 2013, Microsoft launched a negative advertising campaign against Google promoting their electronic communication services. Outlook, referencing this language with a claim that using it enables you to avoid Gmail's advertisement algorithms. In the comedic film Polyester the character Cuddles Kavinsky, a poor maid who has inherited a large sum of money, answers the phone in Pig Latin. In The Lion King Zazu says Ixnay on the Oopid stay, to warn Simba and Nala to stop talking about the hyenas. In the episode Dear Mildred, in the fourth season of the television program MASH the character Margaret Houlihan addresses the character Frank Burns with a short sentence in Pig Latin, the joke being that it takes Burns several seconds to interpret what she has told him. In 2014, a Geico commercial makes use of Pig Latin, where a couple is shown talking in Pig Latin to avoid being understood by one of the Geico mascots, which ironically, is a pig. Also, in the movie Short Circuit 2, just before Johnny Five is attacked, there is a bit of Pig Latin. The sentence was et guy and bay me, or something along those lines. In other languages, In Bernese German, a variety of Pig Latin called Matin English was used in the Mat, the traditional working-class neighborhood. Though it has fallen out of use since the mid-20th century, it is still cultivated by voluntary associations. A characteristic of the Matin English Pig Latin is the complete substitution of the first vowel by I, in addition to the usual moving of the initial consonant cluster and the adding of a. The Swedish equivalent of Pig Latin is allspryenket, which uses the same or similar rules but with the suffix all. Additionally, the Swedish language game fikonspryenket is similar to Pig Latin. French has the Lautscherbum coded language, which supposedly was originally used by butchers. In Lautscherbum, the leading consonant cluster is moved to the end of the word and replaced by an L, and then a suffix is added at the end of the word. Example, combine equals lombinquos. Similar coded languages are Verlan and Langue de Feu. A few Lautcher copyright BEM words have become usual French words, fou equals loufoque, portefeuille equals la fuile, endus equals en de copyright. The Portuguese language equivalent of Pig Latin is called Língua do Pá, which has at least 3 different variations. Another equivalent of Pig Latin is used throughout Balkan. It is called Angstrom Atra, or Angstrom Atrovaki, and was used in crime-related and street language. For instance, marijuana turns to Vutra, Balkan slang name for cocaine turns to Lobe, a pistol turns to Angstrom Toljpi, bro turns to Tebra. In the past few years it has become widely used between teenage immigrants in ex-Yugoslavian countries. In computer games, Total Annihilation references Pig Latin. Pig Latin has been used extensively by most characters in Rayman Origins game developed by Ubisoft. Notes. References. External links, igpay@inlay.org, a site dedicated to Pig Latin education and practice, Free English to Pig Latin Translator Utility, Enchlumgai an AAT Pig Latin Font, English to Pig Latin Translator, Total Annihilation Game Data.